the live training page. Okay, friends and colleagues, 11%. That's lovely. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Perfect. Thank you so much for answering that. It always gives me a better impression of where the students are in each class. All right, so I'm going to start the recording so I can send that to you tomorrow as promised.
Recording in progress.
So welcome again to our Getting Started with Zoom Meetings training session. Again, my name is Eleanor. I am hosting you from Germany today, and we will be going through the following agenda. I am going to show you around the Zoom US website, just show you where to find things and help Hanadi get their questions answered. We'll sign in. We'll also review the web portal. I'm going to show you where to find your features to enable. We'll make some default settings, and then we'll schedule a tiny meeting together. I'm going to show you how you can invite others. And then I would like to take you back to this presentation so I can share some of the basic hosting controls with you. I've got a couple of screenshots on those. So let's first start off with the Zoom US website. I'll just give you a little bit of an orientation on where to go and where to find things. So when you open up your browser, that's your browser. It can be any browser actually. We'll just type in zoom.us right here at the top, and that will bring us straight to the website. Now, if you are not logged in just yet, it will show you sign up or register or sign in. Now, for me, it says my account because I'm already logged in, so Zoom recognizes me. The principle is quite easy. Right here at the top, you'll find menus to use. And at the bottom, that's the first thing I actually want to highlight. Down here, that is where you select your language. So if you would like to see a different language or see the website in a different language, in Spanish, Deutsch, Francais, and so forth, just go ahead, change that language. That's quite a good thing to know. And Ahmad, you have a training from Opito. No, check out Ahmad. This is a training for Zoom users that you signed up for. So I suggest go to that email or however you were invited. The host of that meeting that you want to join should have sent you a join link. So click on that link. Go to that invite. All right, good. And then I find a menu down here. I have my support where I can get to the support center where I can find more live training. Over to the left, I have the download center, and we will visit the download center here in just a little bit. And I have the about section where you can find the Zoom blog, or if you're looking to get a job with Zoom, that's also where you find our career page. Right at the top. Yeah, Ahmad, I hope you can find that invite. Good. Okay, at the top, right there, the support button brings me to the help center of Zoom. Then I have resources I can hover over. That's where I can come to the download center. That's where I can watch live video video tutorials, and where I can find other live trainings I want to attend. And then when I move a little bit over, right there's the plans and pricing page. We'll see that here in a second. And that shows you all those available licenses you can get with Zoom. So let's just go through one by one. I just want to show you the most important ones. All right, so the first question that we probably all have is who needs to have a Zoom license? And that is really only the person that wants to host a meeting. It's what we call the host. I have opened the plans and pricing page right here. So we can come right there. No, that's the download center. So right here. We can come to the plans and pricing page, and I'll just need that to help explain. These are all the licenses that you can get with Zoom, but no worries. I only want to touch on Basic and Pro today. So Basic is the free license, the free level of service, and Pro is the paid level of service. These are the two licenses that you can select to start off with Zoom. These two licenses have a lot in common. For instance, you can host as many meetings as you like throughout the entire month. You can also have up to 100 participants in each of your meetings. One-on-one meetings, where it's just you plus one other person, can be up to 30 hours straight. But now there's the first difference that comes into play when you decide for a free license, which is the limit of 40 minutes on a group meeting. And I think Mohammed's question goes towards that. Unlimited group meetings for up to 40 minutes means you can have all those other 99 participants in your meeting, but your meeting will be ended at the 40 minutes mark. As soon as the third person joins your meeting, so you plus one other person, that is going for 30 hours, your own choice. As soon as the third person joins you, that timer will kick off. Zoom will end that meeting after 40 minutes. But no worries, you'll always be able to start another meeting and invite your participants back in. And that's what Muhammad was asking. I would like to know about how to host a meeting from the free account and Zoom registered paid account, as I came to know that free account holders cannot host more than 40 minutes. Yes, exactly. So on the free account, this is where you can host meetings up to 40 minutes. And if you want to upgrade to Pro, Mohammed, all you want to do is make sure you're logged in, and then you'll upgrade to Pro if you do want to upgrade to Pro. So easy as that. All right, good. So the Pro account right here allows even for group meetings with up to 100 participants in total to be up to 30 hours. So that's exactly what Mohammed was looking for, longer than 40 minutes with more than 2 participants in total. If 100 participants are not enough, we also have the option to select the large meetings add-on, which lets us add on additional capacity. Now we can host meetings up to 500 or 1,000 participants. I get live streaming right here. So that is part one of the question that Hanadi has submitted. Media live streaming, I do want to be on a pro license first before considering streaming to social media, right? Basic users don't have that ability. You want to be at least on a pro license to have that ability. Also, cloud recording is available starting with your pro license. And this means all your recordings will go to the Zoom cloud instead of your local hard drive if you select cloud recording. All right, down here at the bottom, there's a full plan comparison, but I actually don't want to go through it today during the session. If you feel like you would just like to review this comparison, then please, maybe after the session, maybe over the weekend, just come here to the Zoom website, click on plans and pricing, and click that plus sign, and then you'll be able to see a full comparison. A lot of the features are actually available on both licenses, but once you scroll a little further down, you'll start hitting those features that are for pro users only, like polling, co-host, scheduling privilege. Reports will be available starting with your pro license, right? All right, so I want to leave it with that. I'm going to close out that window. And now let's answer the question when we go back to our original window. I just want to answer the question, what do I need to run Zoom? Download the Zoom software, and you'll find that if you hover over resources and you click on download the Zoom client, that will bring you straight to the download center. And what I'd like to show you today is the Zoom client for meetings. Zoom client for meetings is your software that goes on your hard drive. So it goes on your laptop, goes on your desktop, and this should be a main base of operation. The Zoom client for meetings allows for you to start meetings, to schedule meetings, to join meetings, right? You can host meetings from there. You will have the Zoom chat available. to use instant messaging with your other Zoom contacts. And if you wanted to and you have that additional licensing, you can even use Zoom Phone on there. Also, the Zoom client for meetings allows for you to make personal settings for your Zoom. Then we have the Microsoft Outlook add-in or the extension for the browsers. And this allows for you to just click on that little icon right here at the top from your browser window, sign in and schedule meetings from there. Zoom mobile app goes on your smartphone or on your tablet. If you want to use Zoom on the go, if you want to take Zoom with you wherever you go, then get the Zoom mobile app. As with any internet-based application, you'll be able to use Zoom wherever you have internet access. So download that. You can schedule meetings from your smartphone. You can host meetings from there, join meetings. Zoom chat will be available. So if you want to keep in touch with your other Zoom contacts through Zoom chat, then please use the mobile app. All right, so that was the download center. We're going to close out the download center, and I just want to show one other important section right here, support. See where in the upper right-hand section where it says support? Well, click on that, and this will bring you to the Zoom Help Center. And that's what I'm going to use to answer Hanadi's question. There is a search bar right up here. I can just type in a keyword or a question. So find answers there. I will have quick start guides for owners and admins, users and participants. I can browse popular articles. I even have all those support articles grouped by topic. So for today's session, maybe select the getting started. And this will bring you all those articles that are typically helpful when you're just new at Zoom. It shows you to get started with Android or iOS. Getting started guide for new users is right there, right? And then a little further down shows you where to find more training, frequently asked questions, and if you have issues with installation, it can also help you there. Speaking of issues, there are some troubleshooting guides with things that could possibly go wrong if you are using Zoom or installing Zoom. All right, now a little further back, right here, if you are on a pro license, you also have the option to contact our support from right here or use the chat bot. Down in the right-hand corner, you'll find Bold, that's our chat bot, and type in your question right here. And that is for the pro users, of course. I believe I did mention. Okay, good. Now, Hanadi, your question, live stream, it actually does depend on which live streaming service you'd like to use. So type in live streaming, and here it already comes. So I typed in live, I see all those available articles, right? So if you want to live stream using a custom service, you can also live stream, let's see, live stream, Facebook live streaming right there. So if you want to live stream to Facebook, Workplace, YouTube, just find those articles and just select the service that you'd like to use. So I'm going to have to direct you to the Help Center. All right, good. Sure, Hanadi. More than welcome. Okay, and Raphael, for your question, you said you made a mistake and had sent the wrong email. What can you do? Contact our billing team. Contact our billing team, please. Okay, good. So now let's start off, right? So that's where we can find all the resources and all the help we get from Zoom, and where we can find all the software. Now let's log in, just come back here, come back to our presentation and see the next step. So that was the US website. Now let's sign in and we'll have a look at the portal together, and then we'll schedule a meeting and we'll invite others. Good. So I'm going to take you back to my browser. And then again, right, it will say sign in right there. So once you have your sign in details, your email address that you provided, the password that you use to sign up with Zoom, that's what you're going to type in. And then it will bring you straight into your account. This is what we call your web portal. Now, one thing to know, when you sign in, you'll land straight with your meetings tab. There are tabs on the left side, which that's a navigation bar, right, which helps you navigate around your account. Now, I would just like to use a different order today. I would actually like to like to organize it a little better. So what I'd like to do is, I would like to start off with the profile page with you. Go through some things right there, some settings that we do when we first start with Zoom. Then I want to take you to some more settings, show you where to make default settings, show you where to enable features you want to use. And then I want to take you up to meetings and we'll schedule that meeting, right? So a little more logic here, a little more organization. So your profile page is a summary of your account at Zoom. You'll find your name. You also have the option to upload an image. Please do so. This will be your avatar. Whenever you are logged into Zoom, you are in a meeting or you're using chat, then Zoom can display this profile photo right here instead of just a gray box with your name in there. If you ever need to change the way your name is displayed to participants, use that edit button over to the right. Now we'll scroll a little further down to our personal section. First of all, important, select the language that you'd like to have your account in and that you also want to send out information on, right? Emails and so forth will go out in this language that you select. So make your own choice right there. Time zone, really important. As you can see for me, it says GMT +1, Amsterdam, Berlin, Rome, Stockholm, Vienna, because I'm joining you from Germany today. I'm hosting you from Germany. So for your own account, please come down, find your own time zone and select that, make that setting. That's really important because this will affect our scheduling. And then click that save button. As for your date format, find your personal preference. There's the edit button over to the right. So click on edit, find your personal preference. And then here's a hint for all of you that are used to the 24 hours time format, just like me. Germany goes in the 24 hours time format. Other countries use the 12 a.m. and 12 p.m., but in Germany, we're just not used to it. So I also click that edit button right here and put that check mark down to be able to use the 24 hours time format. Because otherwise, I always get confused with the AM and PM. All right. A little further down, we'll come to the account right here. So you'll find your license type, and this is where it will say basic or licensed. So basic is the free level of service, and licensed is the pro license. If you have any add-ons, like the meetings add-on, the large meetings add-on, or webinar additional licensing, that will all appear right here. And if you ever needed to change your sign-in email to Zoom or your password, you can easily do so from your profile page. Good. So that was the profile page. Basic settings. Take your time to do those. And now let's jump down to settings and let's just make some default settings. And I do want to show you where you can enable or disable features. So let me just have a glance at the questions right there. Oh, Raphael, when you paid the Zoom service for 1 month, you paid but informed the wrong email address. Yeah, so yeah, please contact our billing department. Yes, they'll be able to help you there. They'll be happy to help you. All right. Sadid, how to create a webinar account? Well, once you have, let's just go back to the pricing right here. I'll just open up on that real quick. So once you are on a pro license, Meetings Pro license, you can select to jump over to webinar and events. And this is where you can where you select your desired capacity of attendees, and then click on Buy Now. And that's how you buy that webinar add-on. But you need to have a webinar, a Meetings Pro license first. Okay, good. So now under settings, again, I can accomplish two different things: make default settings and enable and disable features I want to use. So the first setting that I'd like to review with you is the settings for your recordings. If you are on a basic license, you can always do local recording, which means all those recording files go directly to your hard drive. These are toggles over to the right, so I can enable or disable certain features. Please do make sure that local recording is enabled. Starting with a Pro license, in addition to the local recording, you can also enable cloud recording. And cloud recording means the recording of your meeting or webinar is not being stored on your local hard drive. It is being stored in the Zoom cloud, and as such, does not take up space on your local machine. For your cloud recordings, you can also determine which views, different views of the one and the same meeting you would like to record. A little further down, you can make specific settings like adding a timestamp to your recording, or maybe saving the poll results that are shared during the meeting or webinar. All right, so make your settings for recordings, and most importantly, make sure these two buttons right here, these two slider buttons, are in an on position. Otherwise, your meeting would not have a record button to start a recording. Now let's see some settings for meetings. And this is where we find some default settings and where we can enable a lot of the features we want to use. Under security, you see there is another navigation bar. And that actually depends. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I find it easier to navigate with that navigation bar. But if you just zoom in far enough, that will disappear and things will appear larger on your screen. I just like for the trainings to be able to show that navigation bar. So right there. So I have different sections. Security section, settings when I schedule my meetings, and then under in-meeting basic and advanced, that is where I'll find the features. So let's just start off with security. Security is really important for everything we do online, specifically for all online meetings. And this is regardless which provider you're using. Zoom is offering you a number of security options to allow for you as the host to really plan and conduct secure meetings. As a matter of fact, Zoom is even taking it one step further. We are saying if you as the host, if you have a meeting scheduled that you have not used a passcode for, or at least one of the security options, then Zoom will automatically enable one of the security options for you, which is the waiting room. The waiting room says that your participants will not be able to dial into your meeting straight away when they click on that join link that you sent them. The waiting room will keep them in a pre-meeting space from where you as the host will be able to see who is in there. You will be able to admit them individually or all together. But the most important part is you'll be able to remove participants straight from the waiting room without them ever having seen or heard anything of your meeting. So if somebody's trying to join your meeting and is not supposed to be there, simply remove them from the waiting room. So the waiting room is your best protection against anybody that's not supposed to come to your meeting. So no surprises. We always see who we let into our meeting. A little further down, meeting passcode, another great security feature. When I schedule my meeting, I can set up a passcode. So just enable that right here. And then it will automatically, when you schedule a new meeting, automatically suggest a passcode, and you'll be able to change it. I'll get to demo that here in just a little bit. This passcode is what your participants will have to type in Once they clicked on the join link that you sent them, they're going to be asked for the passcode. They'll type that in, and then they will be led to your waiting room. Ideally, your waiting room, right? If you have waiting room enabled. I am a little bit of a security freak. So I always have my waiting room on, and majority of the time, I want to use passcodes. Sadid, how to remove passcode in a Zoom meeting? I'll show you that when we get to the scheduling part, right? Carl, is the waiting room part of the package for the basic license? Yes. All the options, all the security options are available to you, whether you pay for your license or not, right? So security is really important. Basic users, yes, have the same security options as the as paid users. All right, so a little further down, here's another security feature, but that is really extended. Remember, I mentioned that only the host needs to have a Zoom license? Well, unless, and this is the one exception, unless you are invited to a meeting where the host of that meeting required authentication. So a host, or you in future, as a matter of fact, you can set up a meeting to where you say, okay, I want my participants to authenticate, to identify themselves before they can come to my meeting. So you want them to prove that they are who they say they are. That authentication will take place on the Zoom side of things. So the way we do that is we will make sure that your participants sign into their Zoom account to authenticate, right? So they would have to know their login, they would have to know their password. And if they are able to sign into their own Zoom account, then they will be able to join your meeting. And this is how we can make sure that people actually authenticate. I actually barely use that feature, but it's a great feature if you really want to make sure that nobody else, besides the people that you invited, will be able to join your meeting, or that they are real people that are joining your meeting. It will require, however, from all of your participants to have that Zoom account so they can log into there. All right. So jumping a little further down to in-meeting basic and advanced, basic principle here is, I don't want to spend too much time right here. Basic principle is every feature that I want to use, I want to enable using the slider button before I start my meeting. So for chat, if I want to use chat in my meetings, I will enable that. If I want my participants to be able to use private chat, I'll enable that. A little further down, sending files, so file transfer in my in-meeting chat can be enabled. And then a little further down, that's for the more advanced training, meeting polls and quizzes and so forth. All right, a little further down, screen sharing is what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing my screen. If you want to be able to do that in your meetings, then enable the feature. Also, furthermore, annotation, whiteboards for the more advanced training, as a matter of fact. Meeting reactions right there, we can use emoticons in our meetings. Now let's jump down to in-meeting advanced, and then I'll just come down a little further. Closed captioning is available to all of you. Also, live transcription available to all of you if you have international meetings and you'd like to use that. So I just want to scroll down to the virtual background right here. Virtual background is a great feature which lets you hide your real background if you want to work from home and would like to hide your real background, then that is the feature you want to enable. All right, good. So basic principle, please come here, enable all the features that you'd like to use before you start your first meeting or before you even schedule it, right? So I'll come up here. That was the settings, remember, default settings, and enable, disable features. Now let's jump up to meetings and we'll schedule that tiny meeting together. I can schedule meetings from my desktop application, from my mobile app, from my calendar if I have the calendar integration set up. And the fourth option is right here, from the portal, and that's what we'll do together. So click on Schedule a New Meeting. This opens up a new screen where we get to type in the subject of our meeting. So maybe this is my very first awesome Zoom meeting, right? Good. I'll say, okay, when is that meeting supposed to take place? I'm just going to leave it on today. I'll select the time right there. And by the way, I don't have to go in the 30-minute steps, intervals right there. If I wanted this meeting to start at 12:10, I can oops, that's an odd thing. Okay, if I wanted my meeting to start at 12:10, I can perfectly type that in. I'm going to set the duration. Maybe this one is a quick 15 minutes catch up. Time zone gets pulled from my profile page. That's why I mentioned in the profile, really important to put your time zone down. And now I'll just jump right there. So security. And that is the question that, let's see, Sadit had, right? Sadit was asking, how do I remove the passcode? If you don't want to use passcode, Zoom will suggest these two security options that I have enabled. Now, I don't have to use them. If for a meeting, I don't want to use passcode, it's okay if I just use the waiting room, then I'll just disable the passcode. However, Zoom will suggest one, and you can use the one that Zoom suggests, but you can also make this your own passcode right there. So we'll set this passcode. I'm going to use the waiting room, and then I come down here and I click the Save button. And you know what? That's it. That's how easy it is to schedule a meeting with Zoom. Zoom has generated my meeting ID for me. This meeting ID is just for my meeting right there. I can double check my passcode that I've set. I have my join link. This is the join link that everybody needs to join my meeting. And this join link, people will click on this together with the passcode. And of course, the information when to meet me is what I'll send over to my participants. So easy way to do that is I can add my meeting to my calendar, Google, Outlook, Yahoo, or if you have a different calendar, see where it says ICS in brackets? Click on that, download the ICS file, and use that with your calendar. Second way, I'll add this to my calendar and then invite participants from the calendar just as I do for all other meetings that I schedule. The other option is see where it says copy invite invitation. I'll just click on here and see a nice text that Zoom has prepared for me. I can just copy that from down here, copy the meeting invite, just paste that into an email, and then go to my email application, send out that email to everybody that I want to invite to that meeting. And that's how easy it is to invite people. Start the meeting from right there. Or when you go back to the meetings tab, we'll see that our very first awesome Zoom meeting has now been added to the list of upcoming meetings. And I can start, edit, or delete my meeting from right there. So let's start my meeting. And let's see what these host controls look like. Right, so let's just move to the hosting controls. Okay, there we go. Muhammad, can we enable and disable chat during the meeting? You can change settings. Yes. So you'll be able to change settings if your participants are able to type in or not. That is something you can do during a meeting. If you have chat enabled and you started your meeting, then there's no option to say, okay, I don't want chat to appear at all. If you don't want to use chat, you'll have to go to the settings in the desktop portal and disable chat completely, right? But I'm going to show you maybe a better option to just limit the chat. So you as the host, you can still type in, it's still available for you, but your participants will not be able to type in. Similar as the setting I made for today, right? I made the setting that all of you can get the information that I'm sharing in the chat with you. However, you're not able to type back. All right. So Now let's see. We'll start the meeting. All the controls will be down here at the bottom. And let's just have a closer look at the most important ones. The first two are for audio and video, and those are probably the most important ones. So the first one lets you mute and unmute yourself, and the second one is for your video, for your webcam. So start and stop your webcam. Please do note that there are little arrows next to these buttons, which lets you access the settings, settings for audio and settings for video. So click on those, select a specific microphone or webcam for the session. And here's a very important button, testing speaker and microphone. One of the tips that I can really give is once you enter the meeting, before you even activate your microphone, test your speaker and microphone. This is an automated test where Zoom helps you find working devices on your computer. So we can make sure that everybody can hear us and we can hear everybody else. The settings for your video allow for you to select a specific webcam or to open up the video settings. And those are the settings of your desktop application. That's where you get a preview of your own webcam, even as long as your webcam is off. You can see what your image will look like once you start your webcam. And this is also where I can say I want to use that touch up my appearance feature to smoothen things out a little bit. I can come here to set my background. That's where I can select a virtual background if I have chosen that option, if I have enabled it in the settings of my web portal. So I'll select my background right here. I can even upload my own backgrounds using the plus sign, or maybe I want to use video filters, right? Add a little more fun to my meetings. Once in the meeting, every participant gets to select how they want to view the meeting. What we see on screen right here is the speaker view. Speaker view will always show the person that is speaking in the main window, and others will be listed in that ribbon band at top. Select the View button to switch to Gallery View, and this shows you all of your participants on one screen. By the way, including their meeting reactions, so thumbs up, applaud, whatever has been chosen right here in the Reactions button. The security panel is really important for you as the host or a co-host. So that can only be seen by the host and co-host. It allows for you to manage your meeting from one central point. You'll be able to lock your meeting, which is basically like shutting the door. After you shut the door, after you lock your meeting, nobody else will be able to join you, regardless if they have the join link or not. You can enable or disable your waiting room temporarily. You'll be able to give your participants all the permissions that you want them to have in the meeting. Let them share their screen. Let them use the chat. Let them unmute themselves, so control their own microphone, and give them access to their webcams. If I needed to remove a participant, I can easily do so. Click on Remove Participant. Managing your participants is a great option from the participants list. So let's open that. My participants list always gives me a great overview of who's in my meeting. Are there webcams connected and on? Are there microphones connected and open? I can mute all of my participants at once as the host. When things go a little haywire in my meeting, I always have an option to mute everybody, right, from there, from just that one button. I can also manage individuals. So let's say everybody is muted. I can then come here and ask Robert to unmute. Go over to the More button. I can even ask him to start his webcam, or I could turn off his webcam, right? So as the host, I'm always able to turn off any device. I will be able to mute and turn off webcams for any participant. Also, I do have an option right here to put somebody back into the waiting room. if that is needed, or to remove someone, again, also from my more options under the participants. My waiting room, let's see how the waiting room works. My waiting room will let me know, will notify me when somebody entered the waiting room. Now from that alert, I can admit that individual, so I can admit Archie right from that alert. However, I can also open back up my participants list, and now I see that the upper section of my participants list has been changed into my waiting room, and the bottom section is my ongoing meeting. Now I can remove any individual from the waiting room. I can also admit individually, so let them come into my meeting. I have a button to admit all of them at once, or to send out a one-way message to the waiting room, maybe letting them know that I'll let them in a minute. Participants in the waiting room do not see or hear each other. They also do not see or hear what is being said or presented in the main meeting. What they see is the waiting room. They'll be notified that they made it to the right meeting and that the host will let them in soon. Now the chat right there. Here's our chat options. First of all, you as the host, right? And that's for Muhammad right here. Use those three dots to say, who can my participants chat with? So I can open up the chat entirely, or I can limit the chat, and that's what I've selected for today, that my participants will not be able to type in at all. So the chat will still be visible to everybody, but I, as the host, I'm the only one that's allowed to send out messages. We can use those emoticons right there. We can also use the file transfer. If we have handouts for our meeting, use the file transfer. Put that into the chat for everybody to download. And then select who you want to send that message to, and then send it off. Sharing screen right there is quite easy with Zoom. You don't have to upload anything from the portal up front. Whatever you have open on your system is what you can share by clicking on the share button. Make a selection to share an entire screen or an application. And then either also if you wanted to share computer sound. Remember the music that I was playing in the very beginning, right, that we can hear now? This is because I'm now sharing my computer sound with you. So music is coming through an additional audio channel and not through my microphone. That's why I can talk over it. Optimization for videos is available, and just for videos, please. Once you're done with the video that you want to share, please turn that off and then click that share button. Once you start that screen share, you'll see a floating toolbar. Our controls will change a little bit. From here, I can move to a new share. I can pause my share, right, to have a private moment, and I can stop my share again. Find your record button once recording is enabled. Find your record button right here at the bottom, and also click the end meeting button to end your meeting. And who was that again with the live stream? And here under more, that is where you'd find the live stream options that you have enabled, right? Good, so end that meeting. A few tips and best practices before I come over to the open questions. Always keep your desktop client up to date, please. This will make sure that you always have the latest version, the latest features available. Please double check the settings on the web portal. Remember, the web portal will make those features available to you. If they are not enabled in your portal, then they will not be available in your meetings. Use a headset, ideally USB connected. That gives you the best audio experience. Inbuilt microphones do have a tendency to pick up a lot of surrounding noise, and we do want to avoid that. I'm going to give you an example. Up until now, I have been using the microphone of my headset which is probably a fairly good quality to you. Now let me switch over to the microphone just for a few seconds. That is into my laptop. And as of right now, you probably hear, wow, that sounds different. She sounds a lot further away, maybe a lot more hollow. This is the difference between my inbuilt microphone that is in my laptop. And now I'm going to switch back to my microphone that I have on my headset, and it's a lot better quality again, right? So little things like that can really have great impacts on your meetings. Mute yourself when you're not speaking. Yes, please be polite. Help keep meetings really in a nice manner. And it's okay to let your participants know to do the same. Adjust your webcam position and the lighting. So webcam best always coming from front, maybe about eye level, and lighting should always be some nice even light also coming from the front. So thank you so much for attending our session today. I do have a few more links that I'd like to share. I'll put those out in the chat as of right now. And I'd also like to get some feedback from you. So let's just share those links. So the link for the additional training is in the chat. The second link that I sent is for more live training. We have a more advanced meetings training, Zoom Meetings Advanced, a 60 minutes deep dive into a lot more features like registration, polling, breakout rooms, customizing registration, annotation tools, whiteboard. So a lot of those features will be covered in the Zoom Meetings Advanced training. Any other training that you see on our website right here, on the live training website, is totally free of charge. So please come join us. Our Help Center is there for you 24/7, 365, and please join our Zoom community, community.zoom.com. Join us there, hang out with other Zoomies, get information, ask questions, just for all the collaboration and exchange. Join us on community.zoom.com. Our Help Center, again, open 24/7, 365. I showed you how to operate it. So type in your search term. Maybe you want to browse for certain things. I'll just come back to the questions here in just a minute. I would just love to, right there, send you a little link in the chat. Here we go. So, yes, that was the right link. Okay, I just had to double check. The link that I just sent you in the chat allows for you to give me some feedback. Is it about the session? Did you enjoy the session? Did you have a personal takeaway? What was the thing that you most enjoyed about our training together? Is there anything you'd like to recommend? Anything you want to let me know? Maybe things where you say, yes, that was my personal takeaway. Or maybe you'll say, Eleanor, that was a great thing. You know, please do that for other sessions as well. I really, really love your feedback because you all help me improve my trainings. And I love to read from all of you in the evenings when I get done with the trainings. Okay, so now before I get over to the other remaining questions, we have quite a few. I want to thank all of you for joining. If you want to drop now, then please feel more than welcome to. You'll receive the link to the recording tomorrow. And if you would just want to stick around for a little more Q&A, you are more than welcome to. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.